pole with a 2-length advantage. In second is Think of Anita. Now Abayadir is inching up along the inside. Daddy Classy Dell 3 wide, 2 off the pace, 2 in front of Dendera. Around the far turn, it's Stressed in control. Abayadir eager along the inside to get after this front runner, but Stress maintains the lead. Abayadir gets a seam now if good enough and comes to engage. From the back of the field, Dendera with the green cap, top of the stretch, Stressed and Abayadir, 3 clear of Dendera. They're inside the final 1/8 of a mile, and Stressed is digging in. Abayadir all out trying to close the gap, but Stressed just keeps on going, and it's Stressed in front-running fashion. Stressed wins it 1.5 lengths. Abayadir in a photo for second over Dendera. Then it was Daddy Classy Dill. Vela and Big Shamrock, they're off. Big Shamrock, very alert from the outside. Here's Doris May in the yellow. Doris May up to vie for the lead. Vela is in between now second, and Big Shamrock a close-up third. The gray is Saturday Heist, 2.5 off the leader. Then She's a Joker and Squared Shady is at the back. It's Doris May controlling things up top, opens up almost 3 lengths. Big Shamrock joined at the rail by Saturday Heist. Vela in between those two. She's a Joker, Squared Shady. They have 3/8 of a mile to go. Smooth sailing thus far for Doris May, cruising along by 1.5 lengths. Big Shamrock has to get closer, hard-ridden second, and Saturday Heist is tucked in third. Vela has dropped out of it as they reach the top of the stretch, and Doris May still strong on the front end. Saturday Heist gets a little bit of running room, and Big Shamrock on the outside. They're inside the 8th pole, and Doris May just playing with the competition. Doris May dominating, opening up with authority without being asked to run. That's 3 for Juan Hernandez. Doris May jogs home. Big Shamrock, Saturday Heist, and Vela. Sweet Trouble to the outside. And they're off. It was an even beginning. Quick start for Spain Moonlight coming through along the inside to vie for the lead. Spicy Bug is pretty quick too. These two stride for stride. And in between them, Haley Levad is prominent too. They're followed by Annie's Joy in a good spot, fourth. Followed by Tiff with Jimmy. Inside Irish Rose, who's between rivals, only 3.5 lengths off the pace. Sweet Trouble is next, racing 2 clear of Lulu Lemon Drop. Magic Light is second to last, and that leaves Sakura Flavor at the back of the field. It is Spain Moonlight on the inside and Haley Levad. Haley Levad takes the lead pretty easily. 1.5 lengths, Spicy Bug, Good Trip in third. Followed by Sweet Trouble in the green on the outside, 4 lengths off the pace as the field turns for home. Haley Levad with a 3-length edge coming to the 8th ball and showing no signs of weakening. Sweet Trouble moves stoutly into second, trying to close the gap. It's Haley Levad, Sweet Trouble within 2.5. Haley Levad maintains the lead close to home, and it will be Haley Levad. A sharp score by 1.5 lengths. Sweet Trouble second. Blanket photo for the minors, including Spicy Bug, Annie's Joy, and 2 that were oncoming, Magic Light and Lulu Lemon Drop.
Race 5 official. Post time for race 6 in 22 minutes.
Mystic Tbilisi. And they're off. Awkward start there for Ferociously, who's left with a tall order. A very fast one for Honeymoon Suite, sprinting clear at once. Opening up 3 on Olympic Legend, moving through along the inside. Then Quick Intro. Lampy is next, racing on the inside of Mystic Tbilisi. Another 3 back to Curly Issa, and Ferociously is far, far behind, more than 15 lengths off the leader. And that leader is Honeymoon Suite to the 3/8 pole. It's Honeymoon Suite a length and a half. Olympic Legend is racing a joint second as they come toward the 5/16. Quick Intro now takes that second spot. Curly Issa is progressing along the rail to move into third. And from the back of the field, Ferociously is trying to muster up a late bid. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's Honeymoon Suite with a 4-length lead. Curly Issa chasing gamely from second, followed by Quick Intro in third, a 16th to go, and it's lights out for Honeymoon Suite. Honeymoon Suite just breezing through the lane to score by 4. Curly Issa was second. Then it was Quick Intro, Mystic Tbilisi, and Olympic Legend. Bold Choice walks in. All set. And they're off. Long May She Rain is very quick away from the gate and opens up a couple of lengths in a hurry. Big Update and Square Fun, second and third. And Timely Luck moves up just inside of them. Love Our Family is next. Bold Choice settles on the outside, 5 lengths off the lead while kept in the clear. Magic Game is just inside of her. It's a gap of 5 to Isabel Ludlow, who will do her best running later. Warrior Lady is next. And Tap In 9 is far, far back. They're heading into the far turn, and Long May She Rain has a 3-length lead. Love Our Family clearly second, Square Fun now third. Then comes Timely Luck, Big Update, Bold Choice outside of them. Magic Game is down on the inside, 7 or 8 lengths off the pacemaker. Isabel Ludlow next, 3 clear of Warrior Lady. They turn for home. Long May She Rain maintains a comfortable lead of 3. Square Fun moves into second. Magic Game now starting to close stoutly in the center of the course. And here comes Magic Game. Long May She Rain, 4-length lead, though, past the 16th pole. And it's Long May She Rain under Drayden Van Dyke from Flag Fall to That's All. Magic Game clearly second best. Then it was Timely Luck, followed by Bold Choice and Square Fun. And they're off. Sunrise Journey flew out of the gate, opens up 4 lengths as quick as he possibly could. Tigre de Sluggo moves up to take second, followed by Colt Fiction third past the 5/8 pole. Then it's Red Flag, Mastering, and How Be It at the back. Edwin Maldonado and Sunrise Journey with the pedal to the metal, leading it by 2.5. Tigre de Sluggo second past the half-mile pole with Colt Fiction in third. Red Flag in the turquoise colors, How Be It widest of all, and Mastering is 4 lengths off the pace being set by Sunrise Journey, whose lead is about a length now as he cruises toward the quarter pole, opens it up once again to 2. Red Flag inches up outside Tigre de Sluggo. Mastering, How Be It has a lot of work to do as they reach the top of the stretch. Sunrise Journey, the leader. Red Flag coming after him nicely in second. An 1/8 to go. Sunrise Journey maintains a 3-length lead. Red Flag couldn't keep pace. Tigre de Sluggo at the rail. It's Sunrise Journey continuing his climb up the ladder. Sharp in victory, scores by almost 3. Tigre de Sluggo ended up second. Red Flag and How Be It, the running time, a crisp 109.16 seconds. They're in the gate. And they're off. Atomic Drop, very fast away from the gate, opens up a couple in a hurry, just about enough, has prominent speed too, and moves to engage. Talk Less, Work More is in between those two, ensuring an honest early tempo. They're followed by Mischievous Path, 3 wide in the red colors, and down at the rail comes Orth, about 5 lengths off the lead. Then comes Mamba Cool, who's in between horses around the first turn, has 5 lengths to make up. Another couple back to the gray, Worst Reed Sanchez, who's racing a length in front of Club Cal. Sunshine Babe, who bobbled pretty badly out of the gate, is second to last, leaving Shortman as the trailer. It's Atomic Drop taking them down the backstretch with Talk Less, Work More, a length and a half behind in second. Just about enough is a clear-cut third. Orth is down at the rail, fourth, about 4 lengths off the lead, followed by Mamba Cool, Mischievous Path, Worth Reed Sanchez at the rail, and Club Cal outside of them. The mare, Sunshine Babe, looks for a little bit of racing room, passed by Short Man, who starts a 3 wide bid. It's been all Atomic Drop since the gate opened under Abel Sabino, now trying to close the deal right now with a 3-length lead. Talk Less, Work More is racing in second. A continued very, very wide rally on the outside from Mamba Cool in third. They're a furlong from the finish. An Atomic Drop still just keeps on cruising with a 3-length lead. Talk Less, Work More, Worst Reed Sanchez, Sunshine Babe, a better than look performance outside. It's Mamba Cool, a late run from Club Cal, but it will be Atomic Drop, coast to coast. Second went to Club Cal. Talk Less, Work More was third. And then the rest among Sunshine Babe and Worst Reed Sanchez was in that mix too.
We both need our glasses.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Run Happy San Anita Derby Day. What a day we have in store for you. 12 races, 6 stakes races, mandatory payout in the 20-cent pick six, expected crowd on track attendance in excess of $30,000. And of course, the wagering is going to be fast and furious. Delighted that you decided to join us for our very special day today, at least for part or all of your day. And our seminar guest today is going to help you with the handicapping. Let's face it, with 12 races, it's hard to get through all 12 races very thoroughly. He might be able to add a nugget or two. He's done so many times in the past. He's a private clocker and a bloodstock agent extraordinaire. His name, Gary Young. Gary, happy San Anita Derby Day. Welcome to the seminar.
Happy Derby Day to you, Quigs.
It's great to have you here, and I'm going to ask you a lot of hard-hitting questions. So here's the very first one. Did you watch the 5K? Did you watch the runners come down the track this morning? Did you spot any nuggets?
You know, they looked like they were sealing that training track when I left out here at 7:30 today.
That's when the training ended.
They were sealing that training track, so I imagine the final quarters for the guys that were really fit and girls, it must have been rather impressive.
We had a big on-track crowd already. Many of them are staying for the races. But let's talk horse racing for a minute, Gary. Our sister track last Saturday, Gulfstream Park, had the Florida Derby, and of course Forte won. He might not have won the way that we were expecting him to. What did you think of his performance, and do you think he's going to be the favorite if everything kind of plays the way we think it's going to today, if in fact the favorites win all the prep races at Keeneland, San Anita, and Aqueduct today?
You know, he'll probably be the favorite. I think I was very impressed by Angel of Empire that won the Arkansas Derby for Brad Cox. I think
2 in a row for him.
I think that horse is really, really coming into his own. And the Florida Derby of Fortes was kind of a head scratcher. If they had in-race wagering and he was 5-1 at the 3/8 pole, no one would have been betting on him.
I agree.
I think Luis Saez is a great rider. I watch him ride all the time on TV. He might have pulled the trigger a little bit early on Mays. He went past Forte like a train past the hobo at the 3/8 pole. He did, and he got nailed late by Forte, obviously. But for Mays to do that race for the third race of his life, that was very, very impressive. And I think from last week's races, Mays, Forte, and Angel of Empire were definitely real contenders in this race. Now we get the Santa Anita Derby and the Bluegrass today to see what the Tapit Trices and the National Treasures and the Skinners of the world can do. So I don't disrespect Forte, but I don't think he's a slam dunk right now either.
Given your years of experience, Gary, do you think one or both of the top 2 finishers from the Florida Derby might bounce in the Kentucky Derby?
They have 5 weeks to get over it. I mean, good horses don't bounce as much as ordinary horses. The jury's still out on how good of good horses these 2 horses are. They did separate themselves from the rest of the field quite a bit in the Florida Derby, but what was behind them, that's open for discussion also.
No rehearsals here, so I'm going to ask you another tough question, Gary. The Santa Anita Derby has produced 20 Kentucky Derby winners, and of course, you and I have seen many of those editions in person. My favorite Santa Anita Derby was the one that Point Given won. Granted, he beat a small field, but it turned out he was the best 3-year-old of his crop that particular year. What is your favorite memory of maybe some Santa Anita Derbies in the past?
When Baracco won it in 94.
I wonder why.
Well, when Baracco won it in 94, that was followed by, that was my favorite Santa Anita Derby, and 4 weeks later it was followed by my least favorite Kentucky Derby. But it's with AP Indy that I was at home yesterday watching, and they showed a replay of AP Indy and Bertrando coming down the stretch and it's been a very winning colors. Obviously, that was when her first time stepping up out of the filly ranks, and to see her destroy the field that she did, there's been a lot of memorable.
Sunday Silence
was
Houston was the hype horse with D. Wayne, and here came old Charlie with Sunday Silence, and rest is history.
I mean, Charlie was that was the one thing not on his resume, and he got that. when he'd come up and see you in the morning, we had some good talks, Charlie and I.
Gary, you pay close attention to our main track, and yesterday with the warm weather and, of course, the big stakes races coming up, I thought it was kind of difficult to close from off the pace. I thought early speed had a bit of an advantage. You mentioned Skinner as one example, maybe one possibility in the Run Happy San Anita Derby today. Did you see anything this morning that might lead you to believe that the track would continue to favor early speed, or did they loosen it up a little bit or tighten it up? Did you see anything that might give us a glimpse into what might happen this afternoon?
You know, it was only open for 1 hour this morning because of the 5K run and everything. And I mean, Baffert didn't work anything this morning. And John Sadler, who also sits with me in the morning, he just worked a few. It looked like it was fairly quick. It didn't look like it wasn't like every work I had was coming down there real fast. But there really wasn't that many works because it was only open for an hour. Tomorrow morning and Monday morning, it will be the kind of mornings that I wish I had 8 eyeballs and 6 hands to time all the horses. But because the track was only open for a short time this morning, it was tough for me to really get a good solid gauge on it.
Besides needing 8 eyeballs, you've also been doing a lot of traveling at some of the sales around the country. You're heading to Ocala in a couple of weeks. You just came back from there. Anything you bought that we should look forward to maybe in a year or two from now?
I didn't buy anything out of this past sale. I'm going to buy some horses out of this next sale. The next sale in Ocala and the sale that they have in Maryland on Preakness Week, that those became the two prominent sales of the 2-year-olds in training sales. So, hopefully we can find some good ones there.
How do you find good ones, Gary? Do you kind of narrow it down to a short list? Do you have some spotters? Do you go by pedigree? Like, how do you find those nuggets in the rough that you found year after year?
You need to have a horse move good in front of you first, and then you start looking like digging deep into his pedigree. Like, is this horse probably going to be a 1-turn horse or 2-turn horse? Pedigree can help you with that some, and so can just going and barn checking the horse. Just seeing, you can see somewhat when he's running with a saddle on in front of you. When you go to the barn and you look at him up close, you can kind of scope some things out there. I mean, some of them just because of the way their legs are tied on, some of them just aren't going to make the cut. Some of those wind up to be good horses. It's not an exact science, but some of them you just their conformation won't make it for you. But it's about when they make the cut, then you have to have your vet go in and make sure they're breathing and there's no chips in the legs and stuff like that. It's a pretty tedious process, to say the least.
Bracco, Medina, Spirit, Hijazi are among some of the nuggets that Gary has found at auction. We're going to find out if he can find any handicapping nuggets for us on today's 12-race card. 6 of those races are stake races, of course, highlighted by the Grade 1 Run Happy San Anita Derby. But before we get his opinions on the races, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's card. There is one significant one in the San Anita Derby. Stay tuned.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Run Happy Santa Anita Derby Day at the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf for today's action at 0 feet. We do have a mandatory payout in the Rainbow Six today with $391,000 already in the pool. It will be paid out in its entirety today. Here are the early changes. There are no changes in the first race. Start of the early pick 5. The second is the Evening Jewel Stakes presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. No changes. In race 3 today, just a blinker note. In the fourth, scratch number 5, Mystification. The fifth is the Charles Whittingham Stakes, presented by FanDuel TV. It's a grade 2 event. There's no high five wagering, with the scratch of number 5 oncoming. The sixth race offers a special middle pick 4 on races 6, 7, 8, and 9. It's the grade 1 Run Happy Santa Anita Derby. Scratch number 3, Go Rocket Ride. Again, we have a middle pick 4 beginning with this sixth race. Scratch number 3, Go Rocket Ride, and there has been a revised morning line submitted for race 6. The seventh is the beginning of the Rainbow Six, $391,000 in the carryover. The significant element is that it is a mandatory payout today. Program scratch of number 6, Austonian. The eighth begins the late pick 5. Scratch number 9, Genius Jimmy. Overweight number 4, Jeweled Shalala, 2 pounds over. In the ninth, we kick off the late pick 4. No changes. The 10th is the grade 3 Monrovia. Scratch 4, Tom's Beauty. Scratch 5, Stella Noir. 4 and 5 out of race 10. The Golden Hour pick 4 will start with the grade 2 Santa Anita Oaks, our 11th race. Scratch number 7, Princess Bettina. And in the 12th, the beginning of the Golden Hour double, scratch the also eligible 13. How about them apples? Enjoy Run Happy Santa Anita Derby Day. The Spring Carnival in full force in the infield. It will be again tomorrow. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner to resume the seminar. Tom's special guest today is Gary Young.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Gary Young. He's a private clocker and also a bloodstock agent. His handicapping opinion is sought by many successful horse owners, trainers, and horse players. His opinions on today's card are absolutely free as you continue to watch for the next 26 minutes. A lot of ground to cover here, Gary. So let's kick it off in race number 1, coming down the Hillside Turf Course, which is always a great spectacle to see. Race number 1 begins the 50-cent early pick 5. There's also a super high 5 carryover of $18,000. No one hit the super high 5 yesterday when a 50-to-1 shot finished second. So it carries over in today's first race. This is an allowance race for non-winners of one other than. The rails today are at 0 feet. We've got a field of 11. Phil D'Amato trains the original morning line favorite, number 9, Southern Horse. Mr. D'Amato trains 6 morning line favorites on today's card, but the one taking the action, the current 5-2 betting choice on the board, Gary, is number 3, Do It for Andrew, also from the Phil D'Amato barn. Talk to us about race 1.
I went with Do It for Andrew. Even though he's 0 for 6 in the USA, he has ran some very, very nice races. The workout on XBTV on April 3rd was a lot of turf horses work on the training track, and he looked really nice in that work. A friend of mine, Mike House, owns the horse, so I'm rooting for Mike. My secondary choice in there was Amber Hall. He's coming from San Luis Rey down, so on paper these works look really good, and he showed very nice turf form last year. So those were my top 2 horses in that race.
Gary mentioned number 7, Anmer Hall, training down at San Luis Rey. As handicappers, we always find it frustrating how to evaluate those workouts. There's no videos, there's no clockers that we know of. How do you evaluate those San Luis Rey workouts?
Just by the final times, and just the trainer, like some trainers, they don't really let their horses rip. And if they show fast work down there, that's usually a pretty positive sign.
Fair enough. Let's turn the page. Take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This time we're sprinting on the main track. 6.5 furlongs is the distance. This is the first of 6 stakes races on today's card. It's the Evening Jewel Stakes presented by the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. It's for Calbred 3-year-old fillies. A field of 5. Doug O'Neill trains 2, including the Maury Line favorite on the bottom, number 5, Ceiling Crusher, who's 6-5 on John White's Maury Line. Even though this is a field of 5, Gary, it has a special meaning and touch for you. That's because you found both Evening Jewel and Tom's Tribute, who's the sire of number 4, Tom's Regret. Must bring back some special memories for you.
Yeah, Tom and Marilyn Brawley were very good friends of mine. At Jim Cassidy recommended buy some horses for him, and we were lucky enough to buy both those horses, and they both won grade 1s for us. Evening Jewel won 2 grade 1s. Had she held on and beat Blind Luck in the Kentucky Oaks, it probably would have been a Eclipse Award win for her, and plus she was 12-1. So I took the defeat in less than heroic fashion. I was all in that day at 12-1, but it was really nice. It was kind of ironic that Tom's Tribute is sired a major contender in the race that's named for Evening Jewel.
And Tom's Regret, Gary, actually beat the boys on Kentucky Derby weekend last year as a 2-year-old breaking from the rail underneath Tyler Bays. You give a shot to Tom's Regret, or are you looking elsewhere?
It's either A or B in here for me. I mean, Ceiling Crusher's last work, he worked heads up and looked really nice working with I Don't Get It, who was Doug O'Neill's candidate in the Santa Anita Derby today. So for a horse that's in a stake race, but not Santa Anita Derby type stake race, to work even with him, I was going to give her a slight nod. I did think Tom's Regret ran like a horse that needed her race off the layoff up there. And there's not a lot of value in there, but I thought it was either A or B in there. 5/4 for me.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 3. This race is named in honor of the Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel. They're our guest today, and Santa Anita Park does welcome them. We're going 1 mile on the turf course in race number 3. This is an allowance optional claiming race. Non-winners of 2, I should say. Other than we've got a field of 8. Number 6, Cash Equity, fresh off the victory last time out, adds blinkers for trainer Phil D'Amato. Now 5-2 on the Maury Line, ridden by our leading rider Juan Hernandez. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the favorite here, Gary?
I'm going to go with 5/6 just on a value standpoint. Time to Party is kind of a horse that can get a little eager sometimes in the races, and I think the pace in the mile turf race will suit him better than the 1 1/8 he was in the other day when Cash Equity beat him. A little better value there. Cash Equity's worked since the race. He worked dead even with Gold Phoenix, who runs later on in the card, that won a grade 1 in his last race. So there's nothing wrong with Cash Equity. Make note there that he won this condition, and they're running him back for $80,000 in this race. So he's eligible to be claimed. I thought it's as turf racing has so many variables in it, and there's so many horses that could win, but I was 5/6 in this race looking for a little value.
We had a $100,000 claim on yesterday's card in race number 8. Howbeit went from Mark Latt to George Papapadromo. We'll see if there's any claims in for number 6, Cash Equity, in race number 3. Race number 4, sprinting 6.5 furlongs in the main track. This race is for all 3-year-olds, even though the conditions say differently. It's for maiden special weight. Scratch the 5, leaves us with a field of 5. Dillinger on the rail, second off the layoff for trainer Bob Baffert, is the 4-5 Maury Line favorite. Slam dunk here, or a vulnerable favorite?
Every time I try to beat Baffert in a maiden special weight race, I usually wind up regretting it. Dillinger's okay. Cavendish on the bottom is not a bad working horse. He doesn't have quite as much early speed in the mornings as some Baffert horses. I was going to go with Navy Man. I think he's going to appreciate getting turned back in distance in this race, and the second to Massimo and the second to Mr. Fisk. I think he could be a little bit of value turning back in distance in this race. But like I said, every time I try to beat Baffert in a maiden race, and he reminds me of it the next morning, too. He does. Yeah, he does.
Navy Man, owned by Mr. and Mrs. William Warren. If you know that beautiful couple, you'll understand the name of Navy Man. They paid a pretty penny for the son of Bolt Dioro. Hopefully, as Gary mentioned, the cut back to a sprint distance, and an elongated sprint distance at that, 6.5 furlongs, will suit him well. Race number 5 is the second stakes race on today's card. It's the Charles Whittingham Stakes, presented by FanDuel. It's a grade 2 event traveling 1.25 miles on the turf course. 1 scratch the 5 oncoming, leaves us with a field of 6. Phoenix. You mentioned this horse earlier, number 7, Gold Phoenix, second off the Breeders' Cup performance, emerged victorious last time for trainer Phil D'Amato. 2-1 on the morning line. Another comeback, or I should say another victory in store here for Gold Phoenix.
Could be. I'm going to go with Master of Foxhounds, as will every speed player in the joint. I mean, he's on the lead by himself in this race. You know, he gets a firm turf course to run at, which I think he would appreciate after the race against Gold Phoenix the other day. And I was just going to take a chance that he could go wire to wire. Gold Phoenix worked even with Cash Equity, who we mentioned earlier. Gold Phoenix, not to take away anything from his race, he could not have got a better trip the other day. Kimura gave him would be a textbook turf ride in that race. And, you know, Phil's the king of the hill in turf racing around here. I mean, Georgie does good and other people do good, but Phil's definitely, Michael McCarthy does well, but Phil is the king of the hill of the turf racing around here right now.
Master of Foxhounds and Gold Phoenix ran in this race last year. Of the past performances in front of you, they both ran second and third. Gary, you mentioned George Papapadroma with the rail, number 1, Opry, certainly on a good improving pattern, gets Frankie Dettori to ride. Hard to believe they claimed this horse for $25,000, and now he's in a grade 2. You give him any sort of a look?
You know, he could, you know, he could with the post and everything. Frankie could have him laying second right behind the pace setter. He has laid close and won before. Yeah, this horse was claimed for 50, dropped for 25, voided claim for 25, claimed for 25, and then all of a sudden his buyers have went through the roof, and he's a sharp horse right now, finishing just behind Master of Foxhounds in his last race. So he's I mean, when I made my numbers last night, I was 6-7-1, so he would definitely be my third choice.
Rockingham Ranch, the owner of both Master of Foxhounds and Opry on the Rail, certainly has a strong look in the Charles Whittingham Stakes. Race number 6 is the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby. It also starts, as you heard track announcer Frank Miramati say, a 50-cent middle pick 4 on an 11-race card or greater. That's when we offer the 50-cent middle pick 4. This is obviously a race for 3-year-olds traveling a 1 1/8 on the main track. As you heard, scratch number 3, Go Rocket Ride, one of the speeds in the race. Now number 5, Practical Move, is the 6-5 revised morning line favorite. You saw Practical Move, I'm sure, work in company just a few days ago. I'm not sure that's the type of work you want entering into a grade 1 race, but how'd you see the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby, Gary?
You know, that Practical Move's work on the 26th was terrific. His work the other day, it was right after a break, after we had had a first dry track after some rain. It was very busy out there. I mean, Tim I got to think he didn't want really fast work 6 days out.
Nor did he want that much company.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like rush hour, wasn't it, on the coming out of Hollywood Park back in the old days.
And you can see that move courtesy of xbtv.com, absolutely free of charge. Don't take our word for it. Look it up, and you'll see Practical Move's work on April 2nd.
Yes. I mean, he was very impressive when the San Felipe. I thought National Treasure worked well for this race. He was scratched out of the San Felipe when he had a foot issue, which I'm sure is all healed up by now. His workouts for this race have been good. He was best over Reincarnate on the 26th and best over Seville Row on the 2nd. I was going to make him my top choice. Skinner's a tough read. I've had some works for this race that were so. And some works like the last one that was terrific. So, you know, being that was his most recent work, you might want to lean on that one. He's going, you know, he's dependent on pace. So you don't know what kind of pace is going to be in this race, especially with Go Rocket Ride scratching. Tell me who's going to make the lead in this race.
Well, that's a really good question. I don't think one of the runners that'll make the lead, but I certainly want to ask you the question is, number 8, Mandarin Hero. We've seen the Japanese horses dominate pretty much worldwide now, which is a good spectacle for international racing. But Mandarin Hero does have that one published work here on April 3rd. Have you either seen this horse gallop or train in the morning, and what's your impression of him?
I have. He is a medium-sized horse. He's not an overly big horse. You know, that's what I had on him, 53-3. He didn't leave his race there. We can say that, you know. As you said, I mean, starting with the Breeders' Cup down at Del Mar and just going right forward through that, the Japanese horses have definitely they're more than just knocking on the door right now. They've been buying some of the best broodmares out of the November sales for a long time now, so it shouldn't be shouldn't be that big a surprise. The one thing that is kind of surprised with him is he's by Shanghai Bobby, who was a nice horse for Todd, but he didn't make it at stud, and they deported him, and all of a sudden you see a horse coming from Japan that's trying to make it on the Triple Crown, and who's he by? Shanghai Bobby. So that was a little bit surprising, but it makes for great international racing. I mean, it used to be okay. You'd see the great horses that McAnally would get from South America, and the
Mandela.
and the Mandelas and stuff, and Gentlemen, and then in turf racing, there's always been a European almost dominance in many races,
Bobby
especially Frankel and during the Breeders' Cup races. But now, not only do we have the Europeans in the turf races and the South Americans, but the Japanese horses, they mean business when they come here. There's obvious.
As if the first 6 races wasn't enough action, we've got 6 more races for you, and this is where the fireworks begin. That's because race number 7 begins the 20-cent pick 6 with a mandatory payout today. Everything must go, and the carryover is $391,000. As I said, it'll start in race number 7, and this is another stakes race. It's the Echo Eddie Stakes for Calbred 3-year-olds. A field of 7 after the program scratch of number 6, the Maury Line favorite number 2, the razor sharp Kangaroo Court, once again from the Tim Yuck Teen Barn. Very impressive last time out. You think he can duplicate that effort today?
I think he can. By the way, Kangaroo Court was a horse Johnny Longden had about 30 years ago.
We're showing our age.
Right? I mean, that was, they recycled the name. No, he's a very nice horse. His works have been good for the race. Look, unfortunately, it looks like A or B in this race to me, too, Bus Buzzer or Kangaroo Court. The one thing that is significant here is the other day, Kangaroo Court got to sit outside of Bus Buzz, and now the roles are reversed today. So with the post switch, it might make for a different race. I mean, the third choice in the race would be Left Hand Man, who'd won first time out for Mark Glatt. But this race looks like A or B to me. It's tough for me to take one over the other because the changing of the post could be a significant factor in this race.
2-3-3-2 in the Echo Eddie Stakes goes as race number 7. So says our seminar guest, Gary Young. Race number 8 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. We're traveling 1 mile and an eighth on the turf course. This is an allowance race. Non-winners of 1 other than 1 scratch. Scratch the 9. Genius Jimmy leaves us with a field of 10. Number 5, Reckless Spirit, second time in the Phil D'Amato barn, is the lukewarm 7-2 Maury Line favorite. This looks like a race, Gary, where you can really sink your teeth into it.
It does, and once again, I landed on D'Amato again.
He wins races.
Yeah, he does okay in these turf races. I was thinking that the 3-horse coming off that long layoff ran pretty good the other day, Silver Surfer, and he's had almost 2 months to recover from that, so the bounce off the long layoff shouldn't be a factor. I was going to go with him, and Reckless Spirit would be my second choice in there. It's a decent race. I guess if I had to throw one more horse in there, 7 Wonders did improve dramatically the other day, but that was 1.25 miles. But I was going to go with 3 over 5 in that race.
Gary, a question for you selfishly. It relates to number 2, Irish Prophet. Now, we know that the turf horses can't train on the turf. They train either on the training track or the main track. And certainly last time out when breaking his maiden, I thought he was very impressive and took betting action as well. He gets Juan Hernandez to ride back. He's got an inside post. He's 8-1. Forget about whether you think he has any ability or not. Have you seen him train in the morning, and what did you think of his works?
He's just okay on the dirt. I mean, that's why Drysdale's run him 7 out of 8 times on the turf. I couldn't knock the works for the race, but they haven't been like jaw dropping either. But Drysdale rarely does have jaw dropping works. By the way, Hernandez ran for Drysdale. Well, Hernandez's book is Craig O'Brien.
Yep.
With Drysdale, that goes way back to Bold and Determined with Eddie D and AP Indy. So that's a long-standing partnership there. Craig should be given a medal for putting up with Drysdale that long. He should.
I want those guys in my corner if I'm getting 8-1, that's for sure. I think I've tipped my hand who I like in race number 8. Race number 9 begins the 50-cent late pick 4, sprinting 6.5 furlongs on the main track. This is a starter allowance for runners who have started for a claiming price of $25,000 or less since January 1st, 2021. That eligibility window is pretty wide open. And number 9, Clem Labine from the Red Hot Labrado Baraccio barn is the 3-1 Maury Line favorite. Lee's on fire these days.
The way that horse ran yesterday, I'm afraid to pick against him, but I did pick against him.
Who is it?
I went with Next Revolt. This horse, Georgie claimed the horse, and the horse couldn't have had a worse trip the other day. Bumped 2 times and took up 2 times was the comment on the right of the past performances. On a card that I saw had a lot of potential A or B races, I was going to take a little shot there. Flavian rides him back, and I was going to take a little shot on that horse. It's a pretty open race for a 9-pack in there. I mean, Minotaurus, you can't fault his form. It's a pretty open race.
Fair enough. 2 and 3 in race number 9. Let's turn the page. Take a look at race number 10. Once again, coming down the Hillside Turf Course. This is the Grade 3 Monrovia Stakes. $200,000 guaranteed is the purse. Fillies and mares are competing against each other. We've got a field of 9 after 2 scratches. Scratch the 4, Tom's Beauty, and number 5, Stella Noir. Morning line favorite from the Phil D'Amato barn. Sounds like a broken record. Number 8, Amy C. I can't remember, but either 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 coming down the hill. Is she going to continue the win streak here?
She could. The funny thing about this race is Phil's got 3 horses in here, and the other 2 horses of Phil's are the only 2 horses in the race with any speed at all. And, let's face it, they're not going to be going out there ding-donging with each other. But for a race down the hill of this quality, there's not a ton of sprint speed in the race. So I was kind of looking at the 8 and the 9 in this race. Amy C should be laying right behind the speed, and Big Summer worked very good with Doris May, who won yesterday. Big Summer's work was good with that horse. And I was looking at 8 and 9 in that race.
Gary, before we take a look at race number 11, a question for you. We've been blessed this winter with what I consider to be a pretty strong jockey colony. Now, naturally, it doesn't rival the days of Shoemaker and Pinkai and the rest of that gang, but having Frankie Dettori in town and Johnny V and Flavian and Juan Hernandez, we've been talking about, it's been kind of a nice treat, right, this winter, because obviously they've been here looking for a Derby horse. Whether they've been successful or not in that journey remains to be seen, but they have produced on the racetrack, and it's made for some good wagering.
They have. And I mean, Bravo's a solid rider. Ramon Vasquez is a solid rider. All right. So there's not 8 Hall of Famers like there was in the room back in the day of McCarran and Pinquet and Toro and Shoemaker and all that. But, unfortunately, the field size is an issue around here right now. But you should be able to find a good rider for your horse, because there's a lot of races where there's only 6 or 7 horses, and there's definitely good riders in this colony. There is. And we've seen a few of the invaders who are very talented, and not to pick on them because, of course, they're much better riders than the statistics show. But riders like Kazushi Kimura and Luis Contreras, they're excellent riders. They just don't have as many opportunities as some of the big name jocks. Kimura's ride, as I alluded to earlier on Gold Phoenix when he won the Kilroe, that was turf racing. You're rolling the dice. You can't go 3 wide in both turns and win usually. So you're rolling the dice, but Kimura's ride on Gold Phoenix when he won that race was as good a turf ride as you could see. He's the leading rider at Woodbine for a reason, that's for sure, and we're blessed to have him here this winter as well. Race number 11 is the final stakes race on the card, but not the final race on the card. It's the Grade 2 Santa Anita Oaks. $400,000 guaranteed is the purse. It's for 3-year-old fillies traveling 1 mile and a 16th. Also, race 11 begins the $1 Golden Hour Pick 4, linking our last 2 races here with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. In race 11, which kicks that wager off, number 7, Princess Bettina is scratched, leaves us with a field of 8. The undefeated number 5, Faiza, who hasn't run very fast, but she's beaten everything thrown against her so far, is the 9-5 morning line favorite. Here's another opportunity to beat Baffert. What are you doing? I think she's going to win. I mean, I very much like Clearly Unhinged. I loved her work. She's trying to stretch out off of 1 race going into a Grade 1. Same with Vengaza. They're stretching out off of 1 race into a Grade 1. I was 5 over 3-6. I was Faiza over Clearly Unhinged and window shopping in this race. I know the speed figures on Faiza aren't that jaw-dropping, but I thought her works for the race were terrific. I thought no matter how the race is run, she's going to be laying right behind the speed. It looks like maybe Vengaza and who knows, maybe the 3 horses closest to the rail might all show speed in the race. Faiza should get a good trip, and that's why you have Flavian in the irons.
They paid $725,000 for Faiza, a daughter of Gervin. Also, and Tell Me No Lies, you didn't talk about it all, Gary. Trained by Peter Miller, a daughter of Arrogate. She has at least that one workout at Santa Anita on April 1st. Did you happen to catch it, and what'd you think of that work?
It was just okay in my book. It was just okay. I mean, 125-2 at San Luis Raydowns. Previous to that, Peter Miller probably might not have wanted to back-to-back really hard drills, but that work was okay. I'm not that familiar with her because she does all of her training down there. Maybe she's not the greatest workhorse in the world, but she obviously has proven she can do it on the afternoons.
We close out a fantastic afternoon of endless possibilities in terms of price from a handicapping standpoint in race number 12 by offering $5 Golden Hour daily double wagering. Similar concept as the Golden Hour Pick 4, last race here with the last race at Golden Gate. This is for fillies and mares, non-winners of one other than, traveling 1 mile on the turf course. Scratch the also eligible, leaves us with a field of 12. Phil D'Amato again with number 3, Anna Glassa is the 7-2 morning line favorite. This was another good betting race in my opinion, Gary.
It was. The horse on the rail for Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners and Patty Gallagher, this horse worked okay. Gallagher doesn't work his horses too fast in the morning, but she worked okay. I thought Anna Glassa, either the competition or the distance maybe wasn't her favorite in the last race. So she's dropping back to an allowance race. And I think maybe just as importantly, she's dropping back to a flat mile. And those are my two horses that I would close out the card with.
Gary, your time is extremely valuable. You're a busy man, and I can't thank you enough for spending the last 40 minutes with us. Thanks so much for your time and insight. Best of luck at the Ocala sale, and best of luck with all the runners you have at various stables around the country.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks to you. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Buckle up. Get ready for a great day of racing. It's going to be a fun time whether you're watching off track or here on track. And as you can see, the Coast to Coast Pick 5 is being offered today as well. That's a wager that links races from both here at Santa Anita with our sister track Gulfstream Park. Today's wager, which is $1 minimum and offers a low 15% takeout, begins with Santa Anita race number 3, post time 1:02 p.m. Pacific time. Next voice you hear will be track announcer Frank Maramati updating us with any program changes. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have fun and good luck.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you direct your attention to the Run Happy Winner Circle and welcome Keela Nicole Healy, who will perform the Star Spangled Banner. Keela is a professional singer, dancer, and actress. She graduated from the University of Buffalo with cum laude honors. She is currently working on releasing her new jazz album under the expertise of producer Stefan Dickerson on the Zen Palm Studios record label. Please rise to honor America as we proudly present our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?